I also want to say this isn't just about refugees. I saw what Alex Yerbury put up. He said that the main enemy is the trade union movement and working people and the left. And the reason why he said that is because ultimately what the fascists tried to do was smash all form of organisation. And there was a pastor called Pastor Niemöller, and he said first they came to the communists and I didn't speak out. Then they came to the socialists and I didn't speak out.
Section 5, you can't arrest him for swearing. Section 5, right?
What are you arresting him for?
And history can teach us many, many lessons. And if we think that what's happening now in relation to the migration crisis that we see on our southern shore is something new, they would be greatly mistaken. Now remember that the English in England have been in England longer, about half a millennia longer, than the Maoris have actually been in New Zealand. We are indigenous to this land. This land is ours. It's named after us, the English people. It's not named after anybody else. This is our land. We're tied to it by our ancestors, we're tied to it by blood, we're tied to it by all the hardships that our forebears have suffered over the years.
We think it's really important to say that we are a nation built on immigration. Whether you talk about the Irish people who came here and built the infrastructure in this country, in our city we have lots of people from the Yemen who helped to build in the steelworks, and we say all of them are welcome in our cities because they are the same as us.
Now, most of you will have not heard of the Chatham Islands. The Chatham Islands are a set of islands, about 9 in total, about 800 miles north of New Zealand. In around about 1600, the Chatham Islanders found on their shore a group of Maori. Now, the Chatham Islanders tribe was called the Maori. Now, the Maori had gone through a massive conflict throughout their islands, and they told each other, we are not going to settle anything by violence anymore, we are going to be welcoming, we're going to be their equivalent of the blue-haired Harridins that we can hear over there.
We want to sow unity. We are workers here. We work and we serve this city. And we do it for the people, not for the bosses. Our city. Say it loud. Say it clear.
Refugees are welcome here.
Trans refugees, climate refugees, anybody who needs help, you are welcome here. We represent this place and we are here for you. Say it loud, say it clear.
And what happened was that they had this very peaceful coexistence, but it only worked because they were a homogenous people. It only worked because they understood the rules of how they were going to live. But what happened was that the Maoris saw this and they thought, well, this looks quite easy, because the Maoris didn't have the same kind of peaceful attitude. And so what happened was they set out. And when they actually landed on the Chatham Islands, they were tired, exhausted, they were shipwrecked, they'd lost loads of their people. And the group that landed there, most of them were injured and diseased. And what happened was that their dinghies washed up onto the shore, and the Maori people looked at them and said, oh, this is terrible. We must look after them. We must bring them into our country. We must look after them, and maybe they will adopt our culture. Within 100 years from that arrival, the Maori were extinct. Because the Maori, who didn't share their culture, who didn't share their ways, and didn't understand, didn't want to take part in their peaceful culture, multiplied. And they moved from island to island. dominating them. First, by taking the daughters, and then second, by ritual humiliation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, what we can see happening now on our southern coast is the modern day equivalent of what is happening to the Maori people. All those people that we can hear over yonder who are shouting "whose streets, our streets" and welcome refugees are the modern day equivalent of the Maori. They meant well, but they were massively misinformed about what's happening in the wider world.
Yeah.
And if we don't want to end up like the Maori people, we need to fight back, because they didn't, and now they're just a page in the history books.
I think this is all part of a United Nations plan, because they're keen on migration and one world government. So I think the United Nations, in cohorts with their tentacles, which is the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organisation, plan this, and they're sending people here for a reason. What that reason is, we can only speculate at this time.
Now, how are we going to stop this? You can go at the top about our local government. Yeah, our government. All a set of parasites who all they want is just money and money and money to rake into our pockets. They want to do to make millions. They send it offshore bank accounts in Saudi Arabia and America for savings. What about the local taxpayer? How much is it costing them?
Well, when you think on that, immigration through the centuries has caused lots of issues. Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, they were all secular countries, but as soon as they open their borders to immigration, they become Islamic countries. So how long before the UK becomes an Islamic country?
They're trying to stick them in hotels and in places like Scampton, and we believe that they end up being like prison camps. We believe they should lift the ban and allow people to work, not so they can do crap jobs, but so they can fill all the job vacancies that exist in this country. Even the CBI have said that this is the case, so we know this is a plan by this government to try and honour people, because they want to continue to line the pockets of the rich and the fat cats, and they can only do it by scapegoating a group of people.
We've already got 250 people on the hit list who are criminals and rapists, and they're being allowed to come in this country and they're roaming the streets now. Nobody cares until something's done.
That's pure fascism, arresting someone for saying a naughty word. Who was the member of the public that made it?
It's reasonable to think with all these amount of people around that somebody is going to be offended.
Who? You're offended. You're offended.
You need a statement.
You're offended. You're not the complainant.
And then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak out, and then they came for me. And that's why we have to oppose the far right when they rear their ugly head. People like Alex Yerbury, who dress as Adolf Hitler. He is a fascist, and that's what he believes in. So solidarity with everybody who's here. Let's make sure we say it loud and say it clear.
For weeks and months, there has been, from Labour, from the Conservatives, from the Liberal Democrats, from every single side of the political spectrum, they have all said, we are opposed to what is happening in Scampton. 3 months ago in April, when we did this for the first time, I asked every single one of them, well, if you really are opposed, don't just tell us there, come here and say it to everyone who stands here. And from every single one of them, all that came was abuse and insults and slander against every single person involved in this campaign. And I expected nothing less. I saw one person from among them who came today. Didn't see the MP, didn't see the councillor in Scampton. And having met these people, I now understand why. Because at the heart of the problem is cowardice. The reason that the problem has gotten to this point, where our own people, British people, are made strangers in their own country is due to a relentless and unending cowardice that comes from the whole of common criminals in Westminster.
The one reason why people don't want to come out to these things and speak up in support is because they're scared of being called names, right? Like racist.
I understand you're talking about the racist.
Yeah, so what do you say to people who accuse you of that? How do you?
People have been called a Nazi.
Provided you aren't Nazis. They're a welcoming platform, provided you aren't Nazis. I wonder what a Nazi is to her.
It doesn't matter what country you come from. We are all one group of human beings. We are the human race. So we need to stand in solidarity with everybody. We also want to make sure that they don't other people, because that's what they're trying to do.
I've always been called right wing. Maybe so. I am a touch of right wing.
Yeah.
But what is right wing? I've been saying I'm right wing for 20 years, but I am right. I am right. What's happened in 20 years? Basically, it's just a name. How can you class? What can you class as a racist? Am I a racist because I want good things for my country?
Yeah.
Am I a racist because I tell you the cheap of things? Racism is a critical and a hard work to proceed. Now, if you say it one way and you say the nasty way, yes, you can become a racist. Like I live in Leeds in Yorkshire. I live amongst Indian people, Pakistani people, Muslim people, but we all get together and we discuss these issues.
Yeah.
There needs to be more.
That's the key, discussion.
I would
you actually get together and talk.
You need more communication in your local areas. People wants to go there and voice their own opinions and all get together and agree on something.
I always hear, every time I do this, from the likes of the unions, the hard left, the communists, the Marxists, I keep hearing from them, refugees are not to blame. No, they're right. They're not to blame. The likes of them are to blame. Those vermin are to blame. The root cause of every problem that is plaguing this country today can be traced back to the same cartel of people who give the illusion of being enemies of one another, but all the while, like gangs in a drug cartel, they conspire. They conspire against anything they perceive to be a threat to their rule. They look at the sort of people who stand here today and they see a threat. They see a threat because we're doing what we're doing, not for money, not for power, but because of a loyalty to our own people that they do not possess.
So, we've got homeless veterans on the streets now. Take them off. Get the homeless veterans off the streets. Put them in places like Scantron, where they'll honour it. They'll get the pride back. If they're on drugs, get them in rehab. Set something up for them in places like that. Spend the millions on Scantron. We've lost 300 million at Scantron. Why don't they put that in to the homeless veterans? Give them their honour, give them their pride back, and show we actually respect what they've done for this country. Not to be put onto the streets begging for food. It shouldn't be happening. Nobody in this country should have to be put in that situation today. We send billions abroad with foreign aid, yet we've got people starving in this country, people that can't eat their homes, or they've got to choose between eating food and eating their homes. It shouldn't be happening. We've had enough, and we've got to keep coming out and fighting and showing them we're not going to stand back no more. We need these numbers to get bigger and bigger, and we need to show them we have had enough. Enough is enough. Thank you, everybody.
People are scared, and they're scared to come out, but you don't realise what's going to happen. This country will be took over. Our laws will be gone. It's time to make a stand. Because if we don't make a stand now, our country is gone.